Welcome to qnawire.
I'm going to graph f as a solid line and f inverse as a dashed line. And then we want to use interval notation to give the domain and range of both of them. Well, the domain of the original function, since it's a cubic, will be all reals, and the range will be all reals. And f inverse can be found by interchanging x and y, thinking of f of x as a y. So we would get x equals y cubed minus 2, add 2 to both sides, and then cube root both sides. So f inverse is the cube root of x plus 2, and it would also have the same domain and range. Graphing f as a solid line, let's start with 0. 0 cubed is 0 minus 2 is negative 2. 1 cubed is 1 minus 2 is negative 1. 2 cubed is 8 minus 2 is 6, so 2, 6. And then negative 1 cubed is negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3, and negative 2 cubed is negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. There is f. F inverse, we could just switch those points around. If 2, 6 is on the function, then 6, 2 should be on the inverse. And that would be because if x is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, cube root of 8 is 2. 1, negative 1 is on f, so negative 1, 1 is on f inverse. 0, negative 2 is on f, so negative 2, 0 is on the inverse. Negative 1, negative 3 would go to negative 3, negative 1, and negative 2, negative 10 would go to negative 10, negative 2, and that would be your f inverse. We can complete the square. Let's group the x's together. Leave room to complete the square. The y's together. Leave room to complete the square and subtract 37. Complete the square on the x's. Half of 10 is 5, squared is 25. Have to add that to the right-hand side to stay balanced. With the y's, half of 8 is 4, squared is 16. Add 16 as well. So completing the square, as perfect squares would be x plus 5 squares plus y plus 4 squared equals negative 37, plus 25 is negative 12, plus 16 is 4. So this is a circle centered at negative 5, negative 4, the radius of 2, because 2 squared is 4. So negative 5, negative 4 is the center. Radius 2 is 2 in each direction, up, right, down, left. Simplify. We need a common denominator to add fractions. That common denominator will be x minus 3 times x plus 2. So the first fraction will need to be scaled by x plus 2, and the second by x minus 3. That way they have the common denominator of x plus 2 and x minus 3. And the numerator would be x plus 2 plus 4x minus 12, distributing the 4. And we can think of that as 5x minus 10 over x plus 2 times x minus 3. Or if you want to multiply that out, not a big deal, that's x squared minus x minus 6. The domain of the function would be all reals except for 3 and negative 2, so that in interval notation that would be from negative infinity to negative 2 would be the first one to exclude, because if it was negative 2 we'd be dividing by 0. And then from negative 2 to positive 3, because if x was 3 we'd be dividing by 0. We can't do that. And so then it goes from 3 to infinity. That's the domain.